I think the moment where we realized that we can create our own internal structure, we would win more, because now we would export and we would collect instead of them coming in and we using the structure and they're collecting for us.
Hello there and welcome again. I'm your host, Chukunonso Modi. On today's show, we're talking about songwriters, looking at the challenges they face, the relationship with artists, and so much more. With me in the studio to have this conversation is a singer, writer, and a business strategist, Sammy Yakubu. Welcome, Samuel. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Okay. Let's talk about you first. How did you come into the music business, particularly songwriting? And most importantly, how has it impacted your life?
It's a pretty much long story, but I'll try to cut it short as I can.
Okay.
So I was born in the northern part of Nigeria, Kaduna. I'm in the 80s, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have some time on my side and some experiences.
You do?
So I spent my early years in Kaduna, learned a few things, learned how to speak Hausa, Yoruba, English as well. I'm trying with
You're
that.
multilingual.
I try.
Okay.
And then I joined the youth group in church.
Okay.
My two best friends were Muslims, so I would go to the mosque sometimes as well, but my parents never knew about that. So I went around a little bit.
Okay.
I fell in love with music. I used to have a radio by my bedside every night, and I would just tune into a station, and then they would have this playlist on repeat the whole night. So I knew every song, 112, Jagged Edge, a few songs. And then I went ahead and found the lyric book that they used to sell back then.
Oh, that's
and
epic.
I used to flip through and read through and sing along with songs playing on the radio. And eventually, I think it just grew organically. It never grew to the point of me wanting to make music. It was just enjoying it.
Okay.
Like I was really in it. And then I joined the youth group. We used to go around the country to have concerts and stuff. I used to dance in that group. And then we had guys that used to sing. I used to really enjoy it when they do and feel like, bro, you could try this out. And I never really went deep into it until me and my dance crew won a competition in 2007.
Okay.
2007. We won a competition. Then I got a guitar before then. And I used to play from like 12 a.m. to like 3 a.m. because that was when it was most quiet in Kaduna. Nobody was talking. So I could hear every melody, every string. And I'll download tutorials from the internet, print them out on papers, and just go through them, spend countless hours. And then I realized that my passion for it grew over time. I'd never looked at the professional side of it.
Okay.
So when we came to Lagos for I think the competition in 2007, we won. We became the national champions. But I wanted something else.
Okay.
So I started to gravitate more towards music. And then I had producers that we grew up together in Kaduna that had moved to Lagos. Friends of mine who were already making music. And then I would just go into the studio with them once in a while, tell them, oh, change this, put this here. And then I think at some point myself and Praise jumped into the studio. I can't remember. This was probably 2006 or 5. I wrote a song for him that year and he loved it, right? And I'm like, boy, you can actually do this, right? And then I recorded my song when I came to Lagos. And some lady heard it and she was like, nah, this is Sammy. And she was somebody I'd known before at that time. She was like, no, I gotta call him. So she got my number and she called me. And I'm like, what's up, what's going on? She's like, nah, you gotta come back here. It sounds amazing. And she went around, played it for Banky, played it for a few people. And that was my very first manager, Osage. She was Wizkid's manager at that point. She was Banky's manager. So there's a few people's manager in the industry at that point. And that's when we set off a lifelong relationship. Every time we see each other, we tell each other, you know, this is for life, right? And she's like, yeah. Because we got to a point where we used to show each other our bank balance. Because we were hustling, right?
Really hustling.
Yeah, and then writers were never really respected or recognized like that. But I made music. We had a few performances, which was great. We got signed to 2 or more labels. I mean, it was a good journey. It's been great so far. I can't even lie.
That's nice. Fantastic. Interesting one at that, actually. Okay, now, how has the music industry supported writers, songwriters now? Have they given them a space, a niche of their own to have standby?
I think it's like every other business, right? You have to build, prove, certify, ground yourself, and then you gain the respect. But the danger with that is there's no proper structure like there should be in the whole music industry. In the last couple of years, foreign companies have come in with their structure, and we're enjoying the benefits of external structure, not internal structure.
Yeah.
And I think the moment where we realize that we can create our own internal structure, we would win more, because now we would export and we would collect instead of them coming in and we using the structure and they're collecting for us. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's our bargaining power is not as high, right? But I think every business has to go through a process of growth, and I think we've improved so far. I was thinking about this last night, and I got to give kudos to Davido, because there was a time when he said, Password wrote Gobe, right? People didn't understand it because it wasn't usual for an artist who has a hit song to come out and say that guy wrote it. On that platform, I don't think it had ever been done. People will give credit like, oh, we kind of like, we were in the studio and we vibed, but it was never done outrightly like that before. And there was so many hit songs that other people wrote. Harry Song wrote one of Two-Face's biggest songs back in the day. Like, he's been in the game for so long. So I don't think, I think with culture and how we were raised and how our society is, it's hard for me to say, no, thumbs up to Nonso. She was the reason why we wanted this. Even if they're giving credit to me. When they start to give credit to me, I kind of get selfish and my ego comes to play at some point, and it's hard for me to give credit to you. But what they don't understand is teamwork always pushes, it enlarges everything, right? I can achieve a lot by myself, but I can achieve a lot more with you because you can see from perspectives that I can't see from. That's why people like them, Beyonce, will still use writers.
Yes, they do.
Amazing songwriter, but you still see credits on it. On Justin Timberlake's album 2020, I think it had James Fauntleroy on every single song. And a lot of people don't know who James Fauntleroy is. And he's wealthy as... Yeah.
Yes.
He is, because he's making his bank without people even knowing. So my point is, the industry should be vast enough for even writers to make that much because they're that good. And they put in that much work, not because there's no structure. But I guess every part of our country is facing that challenge, and we have to grow out of it. And I think the music is one of the most respected and most grown aspect of this country in general, because our music has evolved over time. Even in the 70s and the 80s, men were trying then. Men got some international deals at that time. We just don't preserve history as well enough as we should. That's why we haven't read about these deals, why it went wrong, why it went right, what we should have done better, the kind of deals we should be having now. That's the good thing about America. The whole music industry information is out there. If you want to go independent, it's out there. If you want to get on a label, that's how you should strike a deal. If you want a publishing deal, that's how you should do it. So there's a lot of different parts that only one person cannot
do alone.
So it has to be a collective effort. And I'd always give props to people who do amazing stuff to push the culture and narrative forward and help bring about the change that we need to have.
Interesting. Now, is it right to say that the artists and songwriters have a secret affair? Because with what you mentioned now, no, really, because what you mentioned now, you took it from me. Davido is really good at giving credit to whom credit is due, but most artists do not like to. And even when someone comes out and says, I helped this person, it becomes a serious war. Or why would you say that? Were you with me in the studio when I was... And it now becomes a terrible thing. Plus the fact that we don't really have songwriters, independent songwriters. Most of the people that write songs are also singing. It's not a bad thing. I mean, you already have two talent. That's amazing. But then you can't see someone that say, oh yeah, I'm a songwriter. I wrote for this person. I wrote for this person. There's this secrecy around it. So I don't know. That's what I can call it. I don't know if you see it the same way I see it.
So there's a lot of moving pieces in this, right? It's what I would call a complex system. So there are people who you can write for who would never mention your name, but would pay you the money you need at that point to succeed. But everything that's coming in from that song, you will never find out. I know about a song that was released that was a big song, and the owner was a DJ friend of mine who literally had problems with the artist because the artist wouldn't give him any percentage of what was coming in. And it was his song. It was the DJ's song, right? Now the DJ can't put it out there and be like, yo, it's on the blogs and everything, because he wants to keep the relationship. But he needs his money too. And that's where structure comes into play. If there's no structure, all of those things will still continue. There are people who, legit, they don't want you to mention that you wrote their song. So you sign an NDA. And that's okay. But as long as you're getting your buck. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day is what you put more value on. There's value in everything. There's value in being recognized and known as a writer. There's value in you collecting what is due to you, to the work that you've put in your money. On my end, I feel like you deserve a bit of everything. Yeah. Because you made that thing that became everything.
Yes, you did.
Right? But I don't think in this industry right now, this day and age, we're as advanced.
No, I don't think
we're at the level where we can give a writer a bit of everything which he or she completely deserves.
Yeah.
And then on the writer's end as well, I think we just need to educate ourselves a lot more, because there are battles you don't need to fight. Right? The real battles that you need to fight, they're so different. Like, what would it do for you if 1,000 people know you and you're not doing anything, you're not getting no revenue? But it would do more for you if 100 people know you and 10 of those people are calling you to come and write, and then you can get what is yours from those 10 people. Like, it's knowing where to put your focus at each point in time and at every level that you get to in life. So I think educating yourself more, know the companies that take those royalties. And at some point, I think they said locally, I'm not so sure, I heard this, I was in the middle of some deep conversation with some people, and they're talking about how there's billions of naira waiting somewhere as royalties that nobody has come to claim. Yeah, so I don't know how true this is. Okay. I'm just saying I heard this, and I can't say the conversation that I was in.
It's fine.
When I heard it, yeah, okay. So.
Because this conversation, I mean, if we start it, I feel we won't finish.
No, we
because
won't.
There's so much secrecy as regards songwriting.
My experiences alone are plenty.
So much.
But I've grown, so there's no calling out nobody.
Calling out,
It's experiences, and I love it.
It becomes messy when you start, this person, I wrote the song.
No, but don't get me wrong, I ain't scared of nobody. I'm not scared of no single human being on this earth. I know I can go to bed tonight and not wake up tomorrow. That's something I've come to.
That's the spirit.
I know I've come to peace with that. So me not calling out is nothing close to fear. Me calling out is out of self-respect and growth and maturity. So
okay. Now, do you think the fans also play a big role? Because speaking on them using Davido now, there was a time when he appreciated Adekunle Gold for writing a song for him. And if you see the comment section, people were dragging him, attacking him. Oh, you can't write a song for yourself, this and that. And I'm like, why are you doing this? There's nothing wrong. If Beyonce can give credit to how many people for singing her song, this is Beyonce. So why can't Davido do the same? So what role do the fans play? Do you think this music, because of that, the artists don't like coming out to say, oh yeah, this person wrote the song for me because they don't want to lose fan base or something?
So for the fans, I'll give you this story, which doesn't directly correlate with this question that you've asked, but it gives you a window into the minds of the fans, right? Okay. So years back, Wizkid had a show in Abuja. So I was in Abuja at the same time, and then we have the same manager. So they hit me up and they're like, yo, come through. So I went and met them. The show was dope, amazing. And then we went back to the hotel together. And that was the same day that Akon had released Don't Dull, his version. Okay. And you need to know that Akon was quite big that time. He was still hitting big, right? Mm-hmm. And it was everywhere. Tell you what Wizkid did. He went back to his first Don't Dull that he dropped on Not Just Okay. And he was reading the comments out loud for us, and we're all laughing. There was one comment that said, whack, 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 whack. That's all he typed. He read it out and we were laughing. As an artist, as a creative, no human on earth would see the depth of what you've created. Only you. Yeah. Okay. There has to be a piece of you that you brace. That depth, you have to brace it because different punches are going to come at you. Right? I mean, you would have down times, but understand that these people are people who don't wake up thinking about you. Yeah. They don't go to bed thinking about you. They appreciate what you've created. They don't know where you're creating it from. Appreciate what they appreciate, right? Appreciate they're not even appreciating it, right? Yeah. Because it's better, a negative comment is better than being indifferent. Right? I'd rather you tell me exactly how you feel than have it in your heart and be next to me. Right? So if you're going to love what I've created, love it. If you're going to hate it. But I would rather stick with positive energy and ride with it. Okay. And if I see any point in your criticism, I would go and make something better. Right? So I feel like the fans are meant to... Obviously, you should appreciate them, right? They're meant to grow you as an artist. They're meant to make you stronger. But you need to have something in there that you brace, first of all. That even if there was nobody around you, you can still tap from that depth and move. Yeah. Yeah, because the fans can be like this. They could change their mind the next second, right? Straight. And if you bank everything on the fans, I'm sorry. I could be a fan sometimes, and I've had opinions about something that I sat and woke up the next day and I'm like, what was I thinking? This is actually not how I thought it was yesterday. Yeah. So if you ever bank on that, no. That's a long way to go. If you bank solely on that, I mean, so there's no feeling like going to perform and having the fans sing the song. I've had that feeling before, and I can tell you it's like the world, like clock, just the ticking hand just slows down. Like you're taking it all in. They're singing the song word for word. You're not, the mic is out of your mouth already. It hits you deep down. Now, moments like that, you should never play with. Right? Because it's like a depth that... It's like a connection that you don't create. It's built off the love that they've built for the music over time. And then you're standing there and you're feeling it firsthand. Like those kind of moments you don't play with. Don't bank on those kind of moments because they might not know the song when you get there. But my point is, if you ever get those kind of moments, that's stuff you should preserve from the fans and you should keep. But opinions... They would always change.
They would tell you.
Yeah, they would tear you apart. So,
Kisses. Okay, true. Now, are there any other challenges a songwriters face besides, the fans, people wanting to cover them up like there's something that you shouldn't know about, things like that?
I think one of the things is rigidity of artists.
Okay.
The artists would say, "Oh, I'm like this. You can't try this." I mean, look at Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran is literally rapping on some of his songs.
Yeah.
He's doing songs that almost sound R&B. He's doing songs with different people. I think he had a song I think he came to Ghana one time with Fuse, and he literally was crashing on the couch. He said he wanted to enjoy the vibe. Like, you should be able to let writers create. My point is, the writer is not going to put out your song. You're going to put out your song. But be open-minded enough as an artist to try out new things, because you never know. When MJ and what's his name, Quincy Jones created Thriller, Quincy didn't believe in it. MJ believed in it. They created it together, but they were honest enough to speak about how they felt about that thing. And MJ was like, I feel this is it. And then Quincy was like, if you think this is it, let's go. Right? So they have
the songwriter and the artist.
No, that's the producer.
Producer, okay, yeah.
That's the producer and the artist. But my point is, there are times when, because we don't agree on the same thing, doesn't mean we have to hate each other. That's just, at that point, we just don't agree about that thing. But we can evolve to become something better. We can evolve to creating something better. And that's how I view it. Right? So, for me to work with somebody, we must have a conversation like that is far from the music even. Like life. Like, let me get a taste of your energy, like who you are as a person. And know if I could turn something down because my energy I'm not getting the right energy. So that's what it is for me.
Okay. Now let's speak of the business aspect. How do songwriters make their money? How return of investment, dividends, things like that?
Here in this part of the world, so I was taking an Uber from Brooklyn to, I think, New Jersey one time, and the person who picked me up was a nice looking young lady. And she was telling me about how she just got a writing deal for like $100,000 like weeks before. I don't know how true this is. This is just conversation, right? I'm like, yo, that's dope. And you still do Uber? And she's like, yeah, like I just do it part-time. She was driving a really nice car, an SUV, right? But in my head, I'm like, damn, this legit works here. Right? So here, with every market you go into, your challenges are different. It's like even big banks that have banks in other countries, they have their risk management is different in every country. Organizations, people who sell stuff. I heard Coke is made differently in Nigeria. It's just, they're like bits and pieces that you have to add, and that is dependent on the people in the market and how the people view and how they reason and how they take things in. I feel like for here, I would still go back to the lack of structure, right? It's so how it works here is just come write me a song and take this, right? A lot of writers don't even know about split sheets.
Split sheet.
Yeah, which means like whatever is coming out of that song, I get this percentage.
Okay.
So it's like an agreement. So I think in some parts of America they call it points. So there's 10 points for a song. Producer probably gets 4 points. That's 40%. Owner of the song probably gets six points. That's 60%. Writer probably gets 2 points. So 2 points has to go from either the producer or the artist, or 1 points from each people. So I feel like, and this is not even a comfortable conversation for artists to have.
Yes, true.
It's like you're in studio and like, yo, it should just be basic because we're doing this together, so the profits should be shared as well. I understand how the kind of conflicts that can come out of profits, but that's only if the relationship is not genuine. If it's a genuine relationship, then I should be able to tell you, yo, what do you feel like I deserve from this record? And you'd be like, I feel like you deserve 20. And I'd be like, bro, this is what I did. Give me 30, man, or give me 40. Like, it can be a basic conversation, but there has to be, because of the lack of structure, there has to be a way we go about it. I'm saying if you're friends with the guy, then bring the conversation up. Even if it's a little bit awkward in the beginning, you would get comfortable with time with it, because this is your hard work, right? And you need to get stuff off it. For other people who you're just in there to write for, who are paying, let them understand that they probably need to charge a bit more. So they understand that I'm letting the split shit go, but you got to give me more up front. I would never, in a more advanced society, I would never advise that. But because I understand how doggy people can be here, right? I'm saying, do what you can, but understand the value that is on the table and the value that you're letting go of to get what you need to get right now. Okay. And then understand the growth that the industry is going through. And out of all of those things, make a decision, but educate yourself more. Ross is one of those guys who gives good gems on IG. Ross is an American artist, and he's an independent. He's making good buck. He drops his music whenever he wants to. Right? He could do a deal with Apple, and he's on exclusive for a week, and they're giving him almost $1 million. Right? So my point is, when you educate yourself, it's not just one way. There's a lot of different things you can do and make buck from.
Okay, educate yourself. That's for songwriters listening. Okay, now, songwriting, like we've established.
I feel like I'm being a little too serious.
No. I mean, this conversation had to be... We had to
it's
talk
because
about it,
the stuff that I'm passionate about, I kind of lose myself talking about it. So
It's fine. I like the passion. It helps us get enough. I mean, we are getting solutions to this problem now. So now we have established that songwriting is not an easy task. I mean, it's part of the world. So what is your own drive? What motivates you to keep going on in the music industry, even with all these issues and, problems?
So personally, I've been called weird more than a few times, right? And I'm completely comfortable with it. I can have one song on repeat for 3 days, sometimes a week, right? I drown myself in music that I love, right? It's weird, but there's a level of connection that I feel with music that I really can't explain in words yet. I could be extremely emotional listening to a song, but you'll never know because I do it on my own. I like to keep moments like that personal, right? Okay. I create songs that, to a certain extent, have a soul feel, even if it's up tempo. I can create vibes like that because I just feel there's some depth that I feel every time I hear music that reaches me, and then I realize that I connect with lyrics a lot. So I would literally go online and search for lyrics to the song, even if it's a rap song, and then find the meaning to reason why the guy said what he said. So I think just the way people come up with records, there's songs that I listen to and be like, I wish I wrote that. I think Neo said recently, like about a week ago, that he wishes he wrote Essence by Wiz.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you get to a phase in your life where you enjoy music to a certain point, it's easy for you to say, I wish I wrote that song. Because, I mean, you're still writing. It's not like you've stopped. But that song just hit you. It hit one part of you that you feel like if you had probably gone this way small, you'd have written something closer. So I think it's just me not getting too comfortable and me I decided that I'm going to be a lifelong learner. Okay. So even if I write a song that the world thinks, is the baddest song, I would still be in the studio the next day trying to write something else. Okay. Because I believe success is not a destination. Like it happens in transitions. You get successful at something and then you keep moving, become successful at something else. So the end goal isn't really one point for me. It's the evolution for me, how I evolve. And this is not just songwriting. This is with everything else in my life. Growth is so important to me. That's why I can listen to anybody, as long as you're making sense to me.
Very important.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, words to live by. Now, how has, in your opinion, how has the business of songwriting, the music industry improved over the last 10 years, and where do you see it going in the future?
I think it's improved tremendously. I can't even lie about that, because before, like, you just get writers and then you give them small change. But now it's like, oh, this guy wrote that. Oh man, I need this guy in the studio. Like, where's $500K? And like, yeah, let's do it, right? And I'll still give kudos to Davido, because what he did with Passport really, like, it opened, like, it took the veil off a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to say that. It's not like the guy would jump on every stage to perform your song.
He won't.
Nothing like that, right? It's just credit, right? And then it's promoting that side of the industry as well. I feel like as we continue to do that, that would grow the industry, and that would make it much more better for everyone involved in it.
Yes, no more secrecy, no more hiding.
I mean, it's okay if you don't want nobody to know. Just give them what is theirs.
Okay, true.
Yeah, it's
very
what
important.
is theirs. I mean, the person can pick up a loudspeaker and say, I wrote that. I mean, as long as you're not going to deny it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for this conversation. I mean, your passion is really infectious.
I apologize, I didn't come up with enough jokes for today.
No, it's cool. I mean, we've been laughing, so it's perfectly fine. But thank you for coming to the studio and having this conversation with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, that was Sammy Yakubu, singer, writer, and business strategist. Stay tuned for more.